And he gets better every day. He's got a great mentality, and he's getting a little bit more and more comfortable with his teammates every day. And so I see a lot of growth on the field and off.
He said he thinks he's one of the funniest guys in the locker room.
Well, I mean, he's the quarterback. I mean, every joke he tells is funny.
You've been to the Pro Bowl a number of times. Buda Baker, Chandler Jones heading there as well. What can they expect in this experience? Not their first time, but just what would you say to them?
Well, as a teammate, you're really happy for them. Both those guys have had outstanding seasons. They've been key contributors for us on the field, and even in this locker room, they're great ambassadors for this team and this community, and you can't be happier for them. Obviously, we would love to have more guys participate, but when your record is what ours is, that's kind of how it goes. But really happy for those two guys. They're truly deserving and wonderful representatives for us there.
DJ Humphries was obviously a raw player when he came in. Do you feel like DJ Humphries? Do you feel like he's grown into the player that people thought he could be?
Absolutely. I mean, DJ came in. We were talking about it earlier. I mean, he didn't even really play, his rookie year, and to see the growth he's had, overcoming injuries, getting married this offseason. I mean, it's just a lot of growth on the football field and off. And as a close friend of mine, it's great to see, and I'm happy for him and his family. And I know he wants to finish these last two games strong on a high note, against two good ball clubs, and hopefully, things will work out for him here in this offseason.
How have you guys navigated the negative moments from training camp all the way through now when it comes to maybe guys getting cut for something outside the lines, or veterans getting cut, or losses? Any negativity? How have this team as a group navigated through that?
Well, Bob, even in teams that we were really good on, I mean, there's adversity and there's things that are going to come up that, have the potential to derail. I mean, there's 53 guys in this locker room. Everybody's playing for different reasons, has different motivations, and, it's difficult to get everybody on the same accord, and no matter what your record is, but when you're losing, it's even more difficult. But the thing I love about the guys in this locker room, we have a really strong nucleus, man. The guys, they play hard, they practice hard every day. There's no me guys, selfish cats like that. Everybody's out here to try to win and do it the right way and do it the way they're coached to do it.
Seattle has obviously a noisy stadium. How do you kind of block out the noise and just prepare to finish the season out strong?
It's impossible to block out the noise up there. It's the loudest. I think it's the best atmosphere in football. I've said it before. I mean, you can't hear yourself think in that place. And with the success they've had there, over the last 10 years, the fans are loyal. They're there no matter if it's raining or snowing, sunny or whatever it is. They're going to be there supporting their team. It's a great atmosphere, and you got to work the silent counts and do everything you can to prepare for the noise, but there's nothing like actually being in it. And I always look forward to the challenge of going up there and playing against them.
So looking back in the OTAs and mini camp, was there a player, a time where Kyler did something you thought this kid has a chance to be something special? Do you recall?
He's made so many of them in practice. He's can't think of any one off the top of my mind. He does something every day in practice that you just say, well, that's pretty damn good, and he's got that kind of ability to make those plays when things break down with his feet or with his arm, and that's what's going to make him be a tremendous player for a long, long time here.
Larry, since 2012, you guys have played pretty well up there. You won 4 out of 6. You made it to the buzzer last year. Does the atmosphere maybe kind of bring out the best in, I know the players have changed over the years, but it seems to bring out the best in the Cardinal football team?
Football is football. I mean, they're playing in the same conditions, with the same ball and the same everything that we are. I mean, it just comes down to will and desire. You just got to be able to, just go out there and play with great intensity. I mean, they're men. They're just built the same way we are. They have a game plan they're trying to execute, and we have one we have to execute. Physically, we just have to go up there and impose our will. The times that we've had success, that's something that we've been able to do. Run the football, not turn the football over, things that you just can't do against really good football teams. And, that's what we have to do. You can't worry about the elements or the noise and all the things that you really have no control over. All you can do is control beating the man that you're lined up across, more times than he beats you, and that usually works well.
Eager was he to prove to people that he was still Patrick Peterson to have a kid last Sunday?
Well, we're not media members. We don't talk about our teammates like that. Patrick is one of my closest friends. I'm pulling for him no matter what. Play good, play bad, play indifferent. I love him. That's my brother. I'm gonna support him no matter what. And I just whenever he's happy, I'm happy. And that's why I'm going to leave it at that.
Kyler thought you guys have improved quite a bit offensively since the first time you saw Seattle. Do you agree with that you guys have made quite a few strides?
Yeah, looking at that tape, I mean, there's a lot of things that we did that we would love to take back. And, we're playing better brand of football now, much more efficient. We're running the football more effectively now. And against a team like Seattle, who's going to play, their basic coverage is against us. They don't do a lot of exotic things, and if you got to be able to run, you got to be able to run the football to be able to try to get them out of some of the coverage that they're going to be playing. And if we're able to run the football, we'll be able to throw the football. And we just can't get one-dimensional up there, especially getting behind the sticks. When that crowd can get active and 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s and 3rd and 10s, it becomes very difficult with those elite pass rushers.
Larry, you look forward to saying hello to that one fan that always welcomes you guys coming out of the tunnel.
No, I don't talk to the fans, man. I'm there to play a game. The fans, everywhere you go, they're going to say what they're going to say. You can't be worrying about the fans, though.
Growing up, was there any particular gift or present you remember wanting as a kid, waking up and seeing under the tree?
Oh, yeah. I think the first bike that you got, I remember my dad or Santa Claus brought a bike. And unfortunate thing in Minnesota is December 25th, bike riding season is months and months away. So, it was torture to see that bike in the basement. I would get on it and sit on it, in the basement because I couldn't ride it. And I just couldn't wait for April to come around where I could get it outside and ride it. So the bike was definitely the one that I remember.
Thaw it out a little bit.
Yeah, well, but then when it starts to the snow starts to melt, it's like all this sand on the pavements and stuff for people from Midwest. So riding bikes is like you're skidding around, and it was great when I finally got it though.
You never got to skates in Minnesota?
No, I didn't skate until Shane Doan had me out to practice like 2 or 3 years ago. That's the first time I ever been on skates, and I don't think I'll be on skates anytime soon again. My groin, hips, and quads were sore for like 2 weeks. I had never done it before.
What's your favorite thing about Buda Baker as a player and as a teammate?
Buda's an unbelievable teammate. He's the kind of guy you ask him to come to a charity event and Buckeye, and dude shows up with a smile and stays to the end and comes at the beginning. Like he's that kind of guy. He's the kind of guy, if you have a daughter, you wouldn't mind him dating your daughter. Honestly, he's that kind of teammate, that kind of friend, that kind of person in terms of his loyalty. And obviously on the football field, if you have 53 Buda Bakers, you're going to be competing for a championship every year because the guy lays it on the line every single day, not only in the field, which you guys see, but in practice. Holds people accountable. He wants the pressure on them. He wants to make the play. There's a reason he's a 2-time Pro Bowler, and hopefully, God willing, many more in the future for him.
I definitely felt like myself Sunday, having an opportunity to have that matchup on Sunday. My first time going up against Odell throughout our career, so I was definitely fired up. I thought he was probably the last of the greats that I didn't have opportunity to go up against. So it was definitely a different intensity level for sure, and I'm planning on keeping that throughout the rest of the season, as long as I'm here.
Sorry, did you underestimate maybe how long it would take for you to get your legs back under you?
It wasn't necessarily my legs for the most part. My legs are feeling great now. It's just really getting the terminology, understanding how they wanted me to play certain techniques, understanding the different leverages they wanted us to play in this scheme. And now that I have a better understanding and a better grasp on how it plays and how this defense where I need to be in order for this defense to be successful, and in order for me to be successful as well, it's definitely coming into full circle now. So in a great place with the scheme. Like I said, Vance did a great job of putting us in position to make plays, and also not dummying it down, but giving us less calls, and the calls that we're going to run in the game, we're practicing those calls more versus having a long play call sheet to where you can call something and we didn't practice it in practice and it kind of throw us for a loop. But for the most part, Coach Vance is doing a great job of putting us in position and keeping it simple for us so we can go out and play fast.
Did you feel like you needed to prove that you were still Patrick Peterson, or wanted to prove that to people?
I hear the chatter.
Was it more than the matchup that had fired you up for that game? Was it more than just OBJ?
Oh, no doubt about it. Like I said, I hear the chatter.
Vance, mentioned how much stuff can change from training camp to when you came back in the season. How big of a difference did that feel for you? Just
Say it one more time, sorry.
Vance was saying how a lot of stuff can change from training camp to when you got back in just 6 weeks. How much
with that, it's different because I know you guys may not hear it, but you hear it all the time as a player. You hear training camp rules and you hear in-season rules. So, with me being the last time I really played with the team, it was falling back on training camp rules versus, all right, teams are attacking us this way, so we have to tweak this a little bit. We may have to change this technique a little bit. It was like 3 different techniques that we changed since I've been gone, and just trying to get the understanding on now how they wanted us to run that new technique versus our training camp technique. So, like I said, now having a real great understanding on how he wants to call the games, the plays that we 9 times out of 10 are going to run, and understanding the techniques that is being used in certain in some of those defensive calls. I think I'm right where I need to be right now.
When you're mic'd up and you go back and watch it, I don't know if you've watched this week's, but do you say, oh yeah, I don't even remember saying that, or do you remember each and everything you said?
Honestly, I never remember nothing I say. Only thing I really remember what I be saying is like right before the game, like doing warm-ups. But once the game starts, it's like honestly I forget that I have it on. So 9 times out of 10, it's just I'm out there that's pure emotions, pure fire, and just me being the guy that I am.
So there's got to be some anticipation saying, oh my gosh, what did I say? So I got to go back and watch that, right?
Not really, because once Johnny and Richard, once they send it over to me, I'm always looking forward to seeing it, because that's the thing. That's the one thing I do look for. Is like, what the heck was I talking about? What was going through my head at this moment, or what was my rhyme or reasoning of saying that? So it's always a joy to go back and watch it and see the joy that I had out there, because fans don't get to see that, every game. And when they have an opportunity to see, one of their favorite players mic'd up, or a guy mic'd up, I'm sure they definitely are all ears and kind of see how they go through a game for 60 minutes, either it's talking trash or lifting up their teammates, or trying to psych themselves out to be the best player that they could be for that game.
Patrick, heading to Seattle, obviously one of the most electric atmospheres in football. How do you kind of tune out that noise and just try to sound it out, I guess, as best as possible?
The noise is not a factor for the defensive guys, because 9 times out of 10 we're on the field with their offense, so they're kind of quiet. But far as
I guess I just mean as like a whole, kind of just being in that kind of presence.
I mean, me honestly, coming from LSU, I'm used to the noise. I love that type of atmosphere, because honestly, that's what football is all about. Having a great fan base to help make the opposing team life that much tougher. It's nothing like it. So hopefully one day we can continue building our fan base, and we can have that same excitement here in our stadium, at State Farm Stadium, for sure.
In what ways have you seen Kyler evolve as a quarterback since the early days of OTA? In what areas have you seen Kyler evolve? Not just in play, but maybe how he relates to teammates, his leadership, all that.
I think Kyler, with this being a very, very long season for him, he's steady growing week in and week out. He's still not used to playing football. What is this, the 19th today? They're, on break, getting ready, or getting ready for the next team, still practicing, but the season is not going on still for those guys. So just understanding how to time management is very huge for him. But what he's able to do, seeing his mic'd up, you can tell that he's a guy that likes to get his guys going, as far as getting those drives started, making sure that they keep their foot on team's throat. You can just tell when he's in the huddle, it's like, all right, we're not stopping right now. We're just getting started. Let's keep this thing going. As a young guy, when you see that, shows a lot of promise. And and I think the sky's the limit for him. And I'm excited to see him finally turn that corner being a vocal leader, because I told him, you're not a rookie anymore. And believe it or not, guys follow your lead, and for him to continue to get better week in and week out, to continue to lead the guys up front and set the pace, I think that's going to be huge for our future.
What about one of your teammates? Go ahead.
Cliff was saying yesterday that when they drafted Byron, they wanted him to play more than one in the future too. How have you seen him adapting this season and growing with whatever he's needed to do?
Man, Byron's been all over the place. Byron's been outside, inside, playing out single safety. I thought when we drafted him, I thought it was a great pickup for us, because he's so versatile. You could pretty much put him anywhere. And I think once we get Robert back, we're going to be one heck of a secondary to be reckoned with. He's definitely his game has definitely evolved very well because he has to know everything now. Just not only knowing corner, not only knowing nickel, but he has to learn safety as well. So for him to pretty much know every position, I think it makes us better as a secondary, and it reminds me a lot of how we use Tyrant. Using Tyrant at the nickel, using Tyrant as a safety, as a rover. He's kind of like that wild card for our defense. So it's great to have him. I'm happy that we drafted him where we did draft him, and I think the sky's the limit for him as well. And like I said, next year, if we can do upper management can find a way to keep not only the secondary together, but the key players that we need to make this turnover, I think the sky's the limit for this defense for sure.
Obviously, that's so helpful for him being able to do all that, but how hard is that as a rookie?
It's extremely hard because he's another guy that's not as used to playing football this long, and for him to have to learn a different position almost every other week can be tough, but he's a pro. He's always in here first in the morning doing extra work with the coaches before and after practice. It just goes to show he's definitely a true pro early on in his career. And when you have a guy like that being in year one, and he has those pro characteristics already, he's going to be in this league for a very long time.
What about Budda Baker in his second Pro Bowl selection in 3 seasons, and just how have you seen him grow?
He's a starter this year. He's not an alternate, so to have he had a great year. Up until week 15, 125 tackles, no picks yet. Still on him about getting his first career pick, going into year 4 next year. So that's still a goal that we need to hit. But for the most part, Budda is he's definitely our spark plug in the back end. He's always all over the field. I tell him all the time, man, we're following you today. Because he always set the tone. He plays at one speed, and that's fast. And it's definitely I'm very, very happy to see him get his first Pro Bowl as a starter. And I just told him you got 7 more to catch, big bro.
Yeah. You ever have a run-in with that fan in the tunnel in Seattle?
All the time. All the time. That guy's actually he's a pretty nice guy. Some of his posters may not resemble that. But he's a I don't know his name, but he's a really, really nice guy at the end of the day. But he loves his Seahawks.
Kyler says he's one of the top 5 funniest guys on the team.
Kyler
Murray.
Top 5?
Any thoughts on that?
Man, we barely hear him talk. He talking about he's the funniest guy. You want to know my top 5?
Sure.
We'll go Chandler, DJ, Humphrey. Yeah. Larry's a jokester. Robert Alford. Yeah, I don't see Kyler in top 5 for sure. Maybe top 20.
I respect his confidence.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of the pack. There's only 53 of us, right?
5 to 20 is a pretty big gap.
Number 5 will probably be, KD's pretty funny too.
Okay.
Chase Edmonds pretty funny.
Yeah, but he's always talking about video games. Everybody don't want to hear nothing about the video games.
Patrick had a nice game the other day. We saw on the video where he came up to you on the sideline and said he wasn't going to let you down again. What did that mean to you? And in the context of everything that happened, are you surprised he said something?
No, it meant a lot for our defense. When your best players are playing their best ball, you have a chance to win games. And obviously that was Pat's best game of the year, versus a very, very good player, in OBJ. But we can see it coming back. Each week he's gotten better and better physically. The 1-2, the mental prep was there. His body just wasn't ready to be the old Pat Peterson, but obviously he's back, and hopefully he can do it again on Sunday morning.
When he first came back, he talked about all the stuff he was doing up at NAU, how he was in football shape. Did he underestimate what it would take to kind of really be 100%?
I don't think he did, but I think just playing corner in this league and matching the very best players in this league is tough, and not to see fastballs for a month and a half and, kind of working on your own and watching the games on TV and showing up. The Giants game, he played left corner. It was kind of a quiet game for him. He had a couple of plays where he blitzed there, but he wasn't matching their best player. I think the speed of the game was just a lot, early on. And obviously, he went to camp with us, but he missed a month and a half of the season, and some things change from a schematic perspective. So that part also, held him back a little bit. But he kept pushing. He never complained. He never denied that he wasn't playing his best. He was always self-aware about he can play better for us. And it was open and honest. With all of our players. So he was pushing to play that game. He wanted to match OBJ. We gave it to him, and it worked out for us. I'm happy for Pat because he kept pushing, and he never made excuses. Never complained about not playing his best.
So you have no question he can still be Patrick Peterson, or like in 2020, Patrick Peterson we've seen over the last few years.
Obviously, after watching Sunday, yes, but it takes consistency to be the player he's been. That's tough. He's made 8 straight Pro Bowls. That's history. So hopefully he's got his body back intact where he can play the best, his best on Sunday morning.
What's your thought on the future of Buda Baker?
The future of him? Wow. He is. Yeah. He is a great gauge for our defense. If everyone played like Buda, we wouldn't lose a game. He plays so hard. He's so engaged on every play. In every play, he plays 100%. That's rare. I think you're born with that. That can't be taught. To play against Pittsburgh, he's the last guy on the backside, and the guy reverses the field. He makes the play at the 3-yard line. So that's rare. So for him to make the Pro Bowl, and our team only winning, a handful of games, and our defense not being great this year, but the film's honest. When you watch the film, you have to say this kid's one of the best players in this league. So that's a great deal for Buda to be recognized as one of the best players in this league because he deserves it.
What's the earlier this week that he thought, if I remember, it was going to be a nickel corner, slot corner moving forward. When you drafted him, is that the role you envisioned for him long term, or do you think he got a chance to be an outside corner?
When we drafted Murph, we had Robert Alford, who's been an outside corner as a veteran player, and we had Patrick Peterson. So his role was going to be the third corner as a nickel, and that's a starting position. So it's not a position where it's not a spot that we don't covet. It's a real position. So it really fits Murph's skill set. He's a good tackler. He has ball skills. He's a smart player. He has good size. So if he can be a top-rate nickel for us, that's going to help us win. I coached Leon Hall, for 4 years in Cincy, and he's very similar to Leon. Very similar body types, very similar personality. So if he's Leon Hall moving forward, we got one there.
Larry starting inside.
Murphy, as a rookie corner, he's done some good things, but it's a tough position. Quarterback, corner, offensive line for rookies are tough. But again, he's never complained about his hard days. He's always working, he's always smiling, and he's going to be 40% better for what he did this year.
When did you guys start having that discussion with him? Like
With
next,
Murph?
Yeah, like next year.
I think once we got to the last month of the season, we start looking forward to next year. And our thought for Murphy was to be a nickel for us moving forward, once we get Robert back in the fold. So he had 4 weeks to kind of see if he can do it from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. So that was the test, and he's doing fine. It's not perfect, but he's going to be a good fit inside in the slot.
What have you seen out of Jalen Thompson? Obviously, you guys have had some things at safety where he may have been forced to play. I mean, would it be better if he wasn't playing as much as he was? Or how do you kind of see that?
We got a bunch of rookies playing that you would hope they would have been backup players and kind of ease into playing. But Jalen, again, he was a sub-draft guy that didn't show up until the first day of camp. So he's finally kind of getting the scheme. It's an NFL scheme, so it takes time to learn. But when you watch him play, he's got some Buda traits. He plays hard, he can tackle, he's all over the field. So with time and obviously with more coaching, he's going to be also a great player for us. So, this year was a year, of growing young players, and we did that. So it's fun to watch, Murphy and JT and those guys get better and better each week.
Where do you see Deontay Thompson?
He's also a young player that played for us. He needs to work on his body. He's a little thin, for his length and height, but he's a very, very bright guy. He's the one safety in the room who has the length to cover the tight ends that we face in this division. So he has a chance to be a great player and also be like a dime backer for us, a cover dime backer moving forward. But he is engaged and he's smart, and he wants to be out there every snap.
When those younger guys do have to get thrown in earlier, where do you see the balance of, those reps can be invaluable and just kind of being forced to play can help, but you mentioned the mental game. Can that be hard then if they're then switching positions later?
It depends on the player. Obviously, you want them to play and get experience. And with my experience with young DBs, they play and struggle. They get better from it. So hopefully when we see see Murphy and JT this time next year. I mean they're really good, solid players for us. So I think for some players it's different. You know, they go back 4 steps and go 2 forward, but these kids are going to be fine. I mean, they've obviously been through some hard downs, and they're getting better each day. So we're now seeing those kids get better and better. So I think the hard days are behind us, you know, with those 2 kids.